Hey guys, it's Dr. McIver here of Northside Chiropractic, and today we are going to do a condensed version of our delivered talk. So for those of you who are not able to make it out to the live event, we are going to do a short, more concise version of that for you. Obviously, we can't do everything that we do at our live talk. At the live talk, you would get a folder that looks like this. It is packed full of goodies and things that we would be working on and questionnaires and just a lot of good information here. So because you're not here live, we can't really dive too deep into it, but we are going to do a condensed version of our delivered talk right now for you guys. So without further ado, let us go ahead and share this PowerPoint screen. Click all the buttons we need to click, and we should be up and running. All right, guys, so welcome to Delivered. Delivered is all about empowering women on the journey that is childbirth. Pregnancy can be a scary thing. When I was getting certified in Webster's Technique, one of the jokes, if you will, it's not even really a joke, but we always say people are terrified of two things: death, but then life. And when we mean life, we mean childbirth. Women are terrified now to give birth. So a lot of women just go along with the flow. They get pregnant, they go to the hospital, and they basically say, hey, I'm here, I'm pregnant, now what? We want a woman's experience to be the exact opposite of that. We want women to feel empowered. We don't want women to necessarily choose every single step that I did, this person did, or that person did. We want women to be as informed as possible about every single decision that she is making. She feels educated, she feels secure, and when a woman feels empowered about the decisions that she makes, she is more able to easily relax, surrender, let go, and have a nice childbirth because she was very confident in every decision that she made. That is what Delivered is all about. It's about us putting good information into your hands so that you can make the best decision for you, which might look different from this, than this, than this. Everybody doesn't need to do the exact same thing, but as long as you are empowered by the decisions that you are making and you know why you made those decisions, you're going to have a better outcome as a result. So let's dive into this. A little bit about me. My name is Dr. Dustin McIver. I am a chiropractor, pediatric chiropractor, apex specific chiropractor. We can get all into that a little bit later, but right now I just want you to know I have a beautiful family. I see kids and I enjoy it very, very much. So a little bit about on our journey on why I started to see a lot more pregnant women and a lot more kids is because me and my wife, we did 2 home births. Again, I'm not saying everybody needs to do a home birth. I think that's the way everybody should go. It's not, but that is the decision that we decided to go in. And you don't just simply choose to do something like a home birth because it's trendy or sounds cool or things like that. A lot of decisions went into if this was the right option for us. And that is what this whole talk is about. You probably had a lot of time and a lot of decision making going into your wedding. We think that the decision making and the time you put into that decision making should be just as much, if not more, for preparing for bringing your baby into the world. Some of you listening to this call, watching this call, are just thinking about maybe starting a family, getting pregnant. Some of you are pregnant right now. Some of you, this might be your second or third pregnancy, which is all fantastic. Everybody's going to get good information out of this talk. But this is all about empowering women not to make just the decision that I made, but the decision that's comfortable for you. But what I want you to know from this slide is I have 2 beautiful daughters of my own. We are very educated on every single step that went into this decision-making process, and I'm hoping to guide you through some of those decisions and maybe why we made them in our family. Our vision. The goal of Delivered is to ensure that women prepare their bodies and minds for birth so that they can be their best when the moment arrives. And so their newborn child takes his or her first breath in a way that allows them to develop as a healthy, happy child. As a chiropractor, what makes Delivered more important for me is my understanding of the nervous system. We are going to dive into the nervous system here in a little bit, but if you are either growing a baby or delivering a baby from a state of stress, you are going to have a more challenging and a more difficult time because stress breeds stress. It is this snowball effect that can take over, and we don't want to be growing a baby or delivering a baby under stress. We want the system to be in balance. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I just want to set the tone for it. But as a chiropractor, my main goal is looking at this through the lens of the nervous system and how balanced are we? Because if we're balanced, every single aspect, including pregnancy and delivery, is going to be an easier case. This slide just setting the tone for all the things that we're going to talk about. 1, education, exploring the effects of the current birthing trends. Then we're going to go into empowerment, critical shift towards your ideal birth, encourage choosing your team and taking the wheel, and then enhance, transforming your pregnancy and your birth. So educate. Let's explore some of the trends and kind of bring awareness to some of those trends. So if you guys were here live, I would be asking you, a common birth in the United States, what are some of the things that jump out to you that you might say? A lot of women would go towards, hospital, OB, maybe C-section, maybe pain. They kind of describe like what you see pregnancy on like a TV show that airs, weekdays at 8 o'clock, the mom screaming and a team of doctors around her and things like that. Some women say the exact opposite though. Some women say, oh, I envision candles and peace and meditation, maybe a midwife and doulas and things like that. Whichever one you envision, I can tell you, the one over here, the one we talked about first, that is, statistics show, is the common version in the United States and what most people gravitate towards. The other side of it is what a lot of other women gravitate towards, but maybe this side has never even considered. Oh, what do you mean it could be relaxing? What do you mean it could be stress-free? What do you mean it could be? And that's kind of what we want to talk about. Not necessarily just what everybody's doing, but what are some other things that you may have not even known were an option for you that maybe you can bring into your birth plan, bring those people and get them on your team so that you can have the ideal birth that you've always envisioned. So it's at this time that usually I would have people, if you guys were here live, I would have you open up the inside packet of your folder. You're going to see a slide picture that looks very similar to the slide that you guys are looking at. Basically what I would ask you to do is just take a couple of minutes to envision what you visualize your birth plan looking like and who are those people that are on your team, whether a midwife, a doula. Do you envision yourself having a C-section? Is Pitocin involved? Is an epidural involved? Like, what are the things that you currently envision? If you've never thought about your birth plan before, what are some of the things that you are thinking about might play a role? So I'd have you take a few minutes to do that. If you could, please take some time to actually sit down and think about it right now, your current state. What do you envision when you envision your pregnancy, when you envision your delivery? At the end of this talk, that conversation might change a little bit. You might substitute some of those things out that you initially thought maybe were going to be the route that you went. Now you might go, actually, I might kind of shift over here. Therefore, this person now might enter my life, and this person, and this person. So take a few minutes. You can pause this if you'd like. I don't know, actually, if you can pause this. Yeah, you can pause this. Yeah, go ahead and pause this, actually. I'm giving you permission right now. Pause, get yourself something to drink, take a few minutes. Write down what you visualize right now, your current plan of action when it comes to your childbirth. When you are ready, go ahead and unpause me and we will dive back in. All right, you done? Cool. Now I want you to take a look at this screen. Here are some things, let's say the road less traveled, that might be things that you didn't think about including onto your team, but now that I'm making you aware of it, we're going to get into detail why some of these people might want to be on your team. Just kind of putting this out there. So, have you ever considered a home birth? Have you ever considered doing exercise, doing yoga? Chiropractor, obviously I'm a little biased to that one. We'll get more onto that as well. Doulas, OB-GYNs, nutritionists, midwives. Have you done birthing classes? Are you planning on going to a birthing center? Maybe you're already planning on going to the hospital. These are a lot of things that some women don't think about, and I'm not saying that you need every single one of these, but we need to put this information, make you at least aware that these are all options that you should explore when you're coming up with your birth plan, because again, it's not about you doing what everybody does or what this person or that person did. It's about you being informed on every single one of these so that you can select the ones that you think are going to be a good fit for you to give you the delivery that you want to have. So take a minute and look at some of these options. Maybe some of these never even crossed your mind when you were doing the exercise, but we're going to explore some of these and kind of talk about why maybe you would want some of these on your team. Because at the end of the day, we said the road less traveled. You are driving this bus, not the OB, not the midwife, not the doula. You are driving this bus. Everybody else is a passenger on that bus. Now we just want to make sure the right people are on the bus. But at the end of the day, you are still driving. This is your thing. Talking to you right now, Mom. I'm hoping some dads are watching too, but right now I'm talking to Mom. You are the driver of this bus. Now we just want to make sure the right people, your power team, are on that bus along with you. Here are some of the people that might be on that bus. Not everybody needs to be on the bus, but here's an example of definitely some people that would help empower you and make that happen for you. This does not want to click. There we go. Okay, let's talk about some statistics. You need to know that there are, I don't want to say necessarily repercussions, because I'm not saying any of these things are bad, but any augmentation, let's talk about augmentation right now. Augmentation basically interferences with the natural process, which could increase the chance of needing another interference, therefore decreasing the chance of you having a natural vaginal birth. Every single intervention has some degree of a consequence. And if you are planning on bringing in baby into this world as natural as possible, while I'm not saying that any of these necessarily are bad, I am saying that each one of them has their own effect if you do it. And if you are not aware of those effects, you might just look at this screen and go, yeah, let's do all of that. But now when we get into why each of these things and what they can cause, you might go, okay, I never would have considered that. But now knowing that, I want to try to avoid this one. I want to try to avoid this one. Who can I get on my team to help me make it so that we can avoid those things? So 8 out of 10 births today are augmented. And again, interference, some kind of an intervention taking place in some way, shape, or form. So rupturing of membrane, ripening. I was peeling a ton of oranges. A little side story. I got 2 kids, 2 daughters. And so we try to keep food in the fridge that they can kind of snack on, nice healthy food. So those little cutie oranges, I just peeled like 15 of those and got them all into a bowl. So we were having a conversation on ripening oranges, getting into it. I just don't want you to think I'm weird. Rupturing membranes. Let's get back into this. So the rupturing of membranes, cervical ripening. There we go. It was in there. I could have just avoided that whole conversation, just lied to you and said I read that screen. That was just a complete coincidence. Cervical ripening, mechanical dilators, induction with Pitocin, utilization of an epidural, episiotomy, C-section, forceps, the vacuum. So all of these things are augmentations in some way, shape, or form. And again, while I'm not saying any one of these things is necessarily bad, I'm not here to say and vilify any of these things until you don't do any of them. You need to know that there are repercussions and effects that take place with each of these things. So real fast, let's get into, I want to talk briefly. Why does this not like me so much? Don't go 5 slides, just go 1. There we go. I want to talk about Pitocin. So a lot of women are familiar with Pitocin. A lot of women have had Pitocin given to them during their delivery, but we need to talk a bit about what Pitocin does. What role does it play? So tell me if you've heard this story before, because I hear it all the time from my pregnant mamas. We're at the hospital. Labor is maybe started, but not really going that long, or labor has been going on for a very long time. So the doctor says, all right, we are going to give you some Pitocin to see if we can't get this thing going. They give the Pitocin, contractions start, they start speeding up, but then baby's heart rate starts to drop. They go, okay, baby's heart rate is starting to drop. We're going to have to monitor this, but if this heart rate continues to drop, we're going to have to do a C-section. They basically say emergency C-section because the heart rate was falling. We're going to have to do this. We need to get baby out right now. I hear that story over and over and over and over. So with Pitocin, one of the things that is going to happen if you are given Pitocin is the baby's heart rate is going to drop. That is an effect of Pitocin entering the system. Just going to happen. So if baby's heart rate starts to drop, and I want to get back to this harder and longer contractions, you're 2 times more likely if you are given Pitocin to end with a C-section. And if C-section was not on your plan, you're probably going to want to avoid being given Pitocin because, again, once you're given Pitocin, you're 2 times more likely to have that C-section. So if a C-section is what you are trying to avoid, we should probably be trying to avoid giving Pitocin as well. Something that also takes place with Pitocin. Think of it as you are chemically making it so the contractions are stronger and harder. We're chemically inducing trying to get these contractions going. If the contractions are harder and longer, if your body wasn't yet ready for that stage, chemically you've just made it happen. So a lot of women say that childbirth was rough because if the contractions are harder and longer, if this process would have taken place naturally, you get a lot more rest in between those contractions. If you have chemically turned it on, you don't really get that break. Now, going back to the last slide, if the membranes are not soft enough yet, because again, all the hormones need to be released at the right time to soften the membrane so that they can open up so that baby can come out. If that hasn't happened yet, but now you've given the body Pitocin to make these contractions go, now the baby, this can be very, very stressful on the little one. So now the contractions are taking place. Membranes aren't soft enough yet because it wasn't ready to do this part yet. And now baby is essentially getting jammed with every contraction that is going to take place, which stresses out mom, which stresses out baby. So again, you need to be aware that this is something that can happen when you are given Pitocin. Much higher probability of getting an epidural, and it is going to reduce the rate of infant breastfeeding. So I think I covered everything. Let me just take a quick, I do have notes here just to make sure I don't make this incredibly too long, but just want to make sure we hit all the points that I wanted to make sure that we got to. Yes. Okay. Your two biggest takeaways though from this slide are decrease blood and oxygen going to the baby. And then because the contractions are more artificially being created because of the Pitocin, usually it leads to your next intervention, which is the epidural. And that is going to be our next slide that we're going to talk about. So the shot clock effect of an epidural. So epidurals actually make it so that you are having longer labor time. If you are, because you guys aren't here, I don't want to dive too deep into this because you can't really ask me questions because this is a video. So playing it safe, an epidural is basically numbing the senses. So from a nervous system standpoint, if you can't feel those contractions, you've chemically turned them on with Pitocin, but because they're so artificial, they're harder and they're longer, now mom needs that epidural. Now she's not feeling it as much. We call it a negative feedback loop of the central nervous system. The body is having a hard time connecting with itself and being able to send signals back and forth on who needs to do what, because we've chemically made the contractions harder, therefore longer, and then the body can't exactly experience what is going on because of that epidural. That is going to lead to a lot of problems. 3 times more risk of tearing because, again, artificial, stronger and harder contractions. 4 times chance of a posterior presentation because of the baby. Again, it's stressful on baby. Baby can't get into the correct position. Higher probability of instrumentation, whether it's the grips, vice grips, or vacuum extraction, and increased risk of pelvic problems for mom. So this is usually a cascade effect that we see. Delivery isn't going as planned. Maybe this is taking a little bit longer. Labor is taking a long time. Let's give Pitocin. Let's try and speed this up. Uh-oh, baby's heart rate is starting to drop. Contractions are getting really hard, really strong, putting mom into a lot of discomfort. Mom asks for that epidural. Now her body can't really feel what it is trying to do, which makes even more stress on the system. So then we'll go for that C-section. And again, if either one of these was not what you were planning on doing, you need to know all the way back in the beginning that if you do this one, it could lead to this, which leads to this, which leads to this. So again, whatever it is that you are expecting this pregnancy to go and how to be, you need to know each one of these interventions and how one could cause the other in an effect manner. Balance. So we talked briefly with the feedback system on the previous slide about the central nervous system. You can't be in growth and protection at the same time. This is my favorite quote in all of healthcare. If your body is not in a proper state of balance, things don't work correctly. So if your spine, what we call in chiropractic a subluxation, if your spine is not moving appropriately, that can cause aches and pains and low back and sciatica and things like that. But bigger picture is it's very stressful on the system. I'm not talking stress in a traffic jam or at work or at school. I'm talking stress from a neurological, physiological standpoint. Stress inside is your sympathetics, that fight or flight response. So that fight or flight response is going to elevate if the spine isn't moving appropriately. If those sympathetics are just go, 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 you are in protection mode. What do you think delivery you think delivery is protection mode, or do you think it's relaxing growth? It's relaxing and growth, which is the parasympathetic. We need the system to be in a good state of balance if we are trying to bring baby into this world and go through childbirth naturally and the way that the body was designed to do it. But if your body is living in go, 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 that is a lot harder to do. So if you've ever heard of prodromal labor, labor that starts, the contractions might get, between 3 and 5 minutes, it seems like things are really, really going, probably going to have this baby within an hour, and all of a sudden it just stops. If the body is not in a good state of balance, the body is perceiving things in a very protection standpoint, that's not a good situation to bring baby into the world. And what will it do? Shut it down. Hormones aren't going to be released accordingly because the body is not here. The body is here. That actually happened with my wife on our second child. She all night labored. We got, those contractions were 2 minutes apart. We thought, okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Then about 7:30 in the morning, stopped completely. Didn't kick back in until actually a chiropractic friend of mine, I didn't have a table at my house. He brought over his portable table. We got her adjusted, and within a half hour, kicked right back in, and we were holding our daughter that night at about 10:30 at night. So a very short period between getting her adjusted, getting that system back into balance before we kick-started the system again, and the body went, okay, now I'm in a state of balance. Things are going to work and regulate the way that they were designed to, and we were able to bring our little Lachlan into the world that night. But your central nervous system needs to be in a state of balance with everything in life. Pregnancy is no different. So what's at stake? Birth trauma may lead to further complications. And this talk actually blends into another talk that I do, and that talk is called The Perfect Storm. And that is my ADD, ADHD, sensory processing disorder workshop that we do. So we know that any intervention that takes place, any stress that mom is dealing with can lead to stress that now baby has to deal with. And if baby has to deal with stress, it can be a snowball effect, which is why we call it the perfect storm, because 1 can lead to 2, can lead to 3. So birth trauma may lead to further complications. Allergies, 1 in 4 kids now. Asthma, 1 in 10 kids. ADHD, 1 in 8. Autism, 1 in 68. So any intervention that takes place could play a role that baby's nervous system, being stressed out, is not going to be able to handle appropriately, and it can start to show up in different aspects in life as this child gets older. Well, we're going crazy right now. Hang on. How many slides did that just go? Too many. All right, let's get into the next one. Okay, do you plan to achieve your ideal birth? And again, your ideal birth. You are driving this bus. We just need to figure out what people need to be on that bus in order to help you achieve that goal. So for you, obviously you have to take the wheel. If you are not driving the bus right now, if your OB is just basically telling you, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is when we're scheduling your C-section, this is when and you've never thought about it, you don't know if that's the option that you want to go, you need to take the wheel that is this pregnancy and figure out, what do I want? How do I want this to go? And then what team of people do I need to put around me in order to make that a reality? So step 1, taking the wheel, knowing your options. That's why you are watching this webinar, to get informed about other things that maybe you never even thought about. And then having confidence in the decisions that you made. Because again, I don't want you making every decision that I made, because that might terrify you. If being at home, doing a home birth completely terrifies you, I don't want you to be at home. That's not where you should be. Again, we're all talking at the end of the day, stress. We don't want mom being stressed out when she's trying to bring baby into the world, because stress breeds stress. Stressed out mom leads to a stressed out baby. We don't want that. If being at a hospital, though, freaks you out too, maybe we should talk about doing at a birthing center, doing a home birth. We want to bring baby into the world naturally, as close as possible, from a state of balance. If you are stressed out with your birth plan, we need to talk about that birth plan and figure out what we need to change on it so that we're not coming at it from a state of unbalance, a state of stress. We're coming at it from a state of balance. So which one of these needs to be on your plan in order to make that a reality for you? Reasons for exploring a more natural birth. Staying in control of your birth plan. When mom feels empowered, the birth just goes better. Our first birth, again, done at home. My wife's biggest complaint was the wrong Pandora station was playing, but she was concentrating on the contraction, so she couldn't really verbally say, hey, somebody changed this station, I don't want to listen to this. But when you compare to what most people visualize a pregnancy, like on TV, the team, the screaming and things like that, it was the exact opposite of that. But she was in control of every single thing. So she was relaxed. She could surrender to the process, and her body was able to do what it was designed to do naturally. Trusting in that natural process. Again, I just said it. Your body literally was made and designed to do exactly what it is that you were about to do. Trust in it. Don't be afraid of it. I know you've been told childbirth is a scary thing. Now, you need a team of people around you, and it's this and it's that, but your body was designed to do it. If everybody disappeared off the face of the earth tomorrow, and it was just you, and you had to deliver this baby by yourself, I have faith that you would do it. I 100%, be scary as hell, not going to tell you it wouldn't be, but I 100% have faith that you would be able to make this happen because you got this. You were designed to do this. You got it. More comfortable delivery environment. Again, the environment that you're bringing this baby into. If you're not comfortable with this, who's in the room, who's not in the room, we need to get all those things squared away long before that day comes when we're doing it. More likely to achieve your ideal plan and less trauma and lower the odds of C-sections. The road less traveled, reasons for exploring this natural birth kind of continued. We want to lower the risk of respiratory complications. We want to stimulate the cardiovascular system, naturally protect bacteria, baby benefits from hormonal surges, and 20% lower risk of type 1 diabetes. If you guys were here, we would dive into this slide a little bit more, but what I want you to take away is there are a lot of reasons to want to deliver a baby naturally. Let's say lower the risk of respiratory complications and stimulating the cardiovascular system. What we often refer to as the baby's first adjustment. When the baby goes through the vaginal canal, the cranial bones, like you understand that there are soft spots. So the bones of the skull aren't all formed yet, which is why babies have soft spots when they come out. When a baby comes through the vaginal canal, those cranial bones are actually set going through the vaginal canal. You can actually say that these bones are actually more put together from the contraction that's going to take place. The second one is as baby is coming through, the contractions that are going to take place around the gut actually get the diaphragm to start moving and get out a lot of that amniotic fluid out of the baby. They've actually done studies that can actually show because it stimulates the cardiovascular system that a lot of babies that are born naturally compared to babies that have been born via C-section have lower risks of asthma and allergy. And they believe that it is because that push getting the diaphragm that really kickstarts the whole breathing and cardiovascular system is because of that. Naturally protective bacteria. Your baby was just in the womb, this perfect natural environment, sterile, beautiful. Now it's coming into the real world. Now its nervous system has to start functioning. Now its immune system has to start making antibodies and kind of interacting with bacteria. Going through the vaginal canal, there are bacteria specifically placed there to be nice softball training wheel kickstarter bacteria for the body to start going, okay, this is how you make an antibody. Put there specifically for a reason. Again, what does a C-section do? We bypass all of this. We don't get that cranial set. We don't get that contraction around the gut to really kickstart the diaphragm, the cardiovascular system. And we bypass all those nice, easy softball bacteria to help kickstart baby's immune system. All of those don't happen if we go the C-section route. So again, if you've never known benefits or reasons why trying to deliver naturally over here, and you just thought, well, it's more convenient to do it this way. Now that you know that there are kind of some reasons, some very good benefits that baby can have, now you might go, wow, I thought I was going to do a C-section, but maybe I do want to try for that natural birth. The hormonal surges, and again, I don't want to get too much into it, but decreasing the risk of type 1 diabetes. If you're here, maybe we dive into that a little bit more, but I feel like I'm already running a little bit over on my time. So reasons for exploring a home birth. Most women, if they go and say, I want to do a home birth, the statistically how many women actually achieve that goal is very, very high. For some women, this terrifies them and they would go, I could never possibly do that. And again, if that is you, even though after looking at all the research and how safe it is, and if it still terrifies you, don't do it. Look at a birthing center, maybe go into the hospital, but don't do it if it terrifies you. But a lot of women that explore home births and actually plan on a home birth are very successful in doing it that way. So non-hospital births are 4 times less likely to end in a C-section. 84% of women who planned an out-of-hospital birth achieved that goal. Non-hospital births can still be covered by insurances, some, and are less expensive. So I have many resources of midwives that if you want to shoot me an email, I can definitely get you that information. I'm kind of plugged in with a lot of those resources. So if you never even thought about a home birth, but you would like to talk to a midwife and see a little bit more about what that looks like, please shoot me an email and I will get you the contact info for some people. Which route is right for you? Is your personal birth journey somewhere in between? So again, it's not about doing what I did, what this person did, what that person did, but we just want to put a lot of information into your hands for you to start exploring, to try and decide what does my journey look like for me, and therefore what people need to be on the bus to help me get there. Building confidence to ask questions and lead the conversation for your birth. So I like this proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Again, this is go back to having the right people on the bus to help you achieve that goal. But first, you need to figure out what is my goal. Do I want to end with an all-natural, drug-free vaginal birth? Walk backwards from that. These are the things that obviously I want to try to avoid, because if this makes it 2 times more likely to have a C-section, I definitely want to avoid this. How am I best going to avoid this? By having the right people on my team to make it so that that never becomes a reality. So figure out where you want to go, how you want this to look like, and then walk it back from there and figure out all the steps and all the people that need to be on that bus to get along with you. So choosing the right birth team for your plan is important. Be sure to interview and assess for the right fit before choosing your members. So OBs, midwives, prenatal chiropractor. I'm obviously biased in that one. I would love to talk to you more about that. Doulas, yoga, exercise, birthing class, acupuncture, nutritional support, family, and friends. If having the in-law, the mother-in-law in the room stresses you out, guess what? Don't have her in there. It's your birth. You can tell her no. Not a damn person needs to be in that room that you don't want in that room. Oh, another thing I should have added on that slide, birth photographer. Super cool. We didn't do it for our first because we thought, hey, the less people in there, the better. And after we were done, we were actually really sad that we didn't. We had it done for our second one. So if you've never thought of having a birth photographer, I got somebody in mind that you might like to talk to. So we must remember that mind-body phenomenon described in the 9th, 10th century textbooks is no less true now than it was then. Most women need encouragement and companionship more than they need drugs. Again, it all just goes back to empowering mom. When mom is confident in what she is doing, she's going to knock it out of the park almost every single time. Let's talk more about chiropractic and pregnancy. So what is it that I do? How is it that I can be somebody on the bus to make it so that you can achieve the goals that you are looking for? Webster's technique. So this is a specific chiropractic technique for pregnant women. What we are doing in Webster's technique. So obviously I would assess the entire spine because at the end of the day, I want to bring balance back to the nervous system. Nervous system is always king and queen. I got to make sure that the nervous system is in a good state of balance so that we're not trying to grow and then deliver baby from a state of go, 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 protection, protection, protection. That's not good. We have to balance that out. But in doing that, we are also going to be doing a specific technique called Webster's technique. And Webster's technique is specifically designed for pelvis, muscles, ligaments in that area. We want all the muscles to be as relaxed as possible. Round ligaments of the uterus, the psoas muscle, all the ligaments of uterus, we want them to be as relaxed as possible so that baby can get into the best possible position. Obviously, we're trying to get rid of low back pain as your center of gravity changes. We're trying to do all of those things. But the key is balance of the nervous system and then specific techniques done on pregnant mom to make it so that the baby can get into the best possible position that they can be in. So it is non-invasive. There's no poking. There's no prodding. Some women, depending on when you start Webster's technique, those round ligaments can be tight. So they will say, you know, pretty tender to start it off, but we calm them down pretty well as the psoas muscle. But think of it this way, short version, because I can't show you models and things here because it's just too hard to do. If one of the ligaments of the round ligament of the uterus is too tight on one side, that means the uterus is going to contract differently on one side compared to the other. So if this side is contracting differently than this side, that means that now baby is not able to get into the exact position that normally they would want to get into. Therefore, we can lead to breech babies. We can lead to sunny side up. Baby can't get into the optimal position. So what we want to do from a chiropractic standpoint through Webster's technique is get the pelvis structurally aligned, then get all soft tissue as calm down as it can be so that we don't have any imbalances from one side of the body compared to the other, so that baby can be as happy as baby can possibly get into. Benefits for mom. Obviously, preparing the pelvis for an easier pregnancy and birth. The body's going to release something called relaxin so that all the ligaments can get nice and relaxed for baby to come on out. When relaxin enters the system, things can get a little loosey-goosey, for lack of a better term. We want to be helping that process. And again, as baby starts to grow, the center of gravity is going to start changing. The lumbar spine, the low back is going to have to change along with it. We want to be there every step of the way, making sure that everything is structurally as happy as it possibly can be. Removing tension on those ligaments that support the uterus. Again, the round ligaments. We want to reduce interference to the mother's nervous system. Again, king and queen of everything is the nervous system. We got to make sure that this is all happening in a state of balance to allow for an easier, safer birth, decreasing the potential for any interventions. Benefits on baby. We want to remove any interferences that allow babies to possibly and better develop, make more room to develop cranium, spine, and skeletal structures, allow baby to move into the best possible position. Therefore, proper position decreases in dystocia and reduces the potential for intervention. Basically, if the system is happy, mom is happy, baby is happy, we have a better chance of not having any interventions during that birthing process to help mom achieve the goal that she was trying to achieve in her birth plan. Chiropractic care helps with the better overall pregnancy and delivery. Again, better baby position, less uteral constraint, decreasing physical stress on the body, increasing vitality and energy, getting cortisol to relax, epinephrine, norepinephrine, just from an overall standpoint of, if you're unbalanced and your stress hormones are constantly go, 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 really, really want to balance it out. I don't want to get too much into, again, I do want to get into it, but I can't right now because I'm trying to do a condensed version. You're like, yeah, right. We've already been going for 40 minutes maybe. Decreasing labor time, effort, and pain, and decreasing birth trauma for baby. Proper nervous system function is needed to start and continue labor naturally. I probably should have saved that story for this slide, but I can jump the gun a little bit. So the nervous system is the master controller for all organs, tissues, and glands in the human body. Spinal subluxations, structural shift within your spine, causes nerve interference, which puts stress on the nervous system. That stress causes dysfunction input to the reproductive organs. That story I told you earlier, the prodromal labor, the labor that was going, and then just kind of stops, this is that slide. When the nervous system is going to perceive the world and go, I'm stressed, this is not a good opportunity for me to be bringing a baby into the world, because I don't do that in a state of stress, I do it in a state of balance, labor can just stop. So we want to remove those spinal subluxations, which can cause that interference, getting the body all stressed out. And then when the body is stressed, reproductive organs aren't going to work the way that they were designed to, and labor can just stop in its tracks. Excessive stress or stress hormones may inhibit labor via oxytocin distribution. So again, stress hormones. If the body is here, epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, all the stress hormones are just go, go, go. Systems aren't working the way that they were designed to if they're constantly living in a state of go, go, go. The body and brain are in constant communication, and both need to be at ease for a successful natural delivery. When the body is not at ease during delivery, you have to give up control. So when the body is not able to do what it normally would do naturally, and we're in a hospital, and there's all these other things that we could be doing, again, the Pitocin, the vice grips, the whatever it is, that can start to become a reality if you're in that scenario. So if those are not something that you want to happen, we want to make sure your body is in the best possible position so that those don't become a reality for you. Because again, any augmentation, while we're not saying that any of them are necessarily bad, all augmentations do have an effect that can affect baby. Birth trauma followed by the toxicity and the stress of a modern lifestyle can create the perfect recipe for both acute and chronic illnesses. So what we said earlier, stress breeds stress. If mom is stressed, which leads to baby being stressed, hard contractions leading to baby spine getting locked up, dysautonomia, all my D words that we talk about in our perfect storm talk, but then that can set up baby to have some issues as well. So then this can turn into my colic and sleeping issues, reflux, constipation, difficult nursing because, the rooting reflex is going to be interfered with, torticollis, ADHD, ear infections, the allergies, asthma, an imbalanced nervous system. So the whole reason we are trying to do our delivery process as naturally as possible is because we know baby is going to benefit from that, because any intervention that takes place can lead to specific things that the baby and the nervous system is going to have to deal with. And if that nervous system is dealing with any of those things from a state of imbalance, it's not going to deal with it appropriately. And that's why we call that talk the perfect storm, because then it starts to snowball on us. Our goal is to keep your child balanced and connected during the vital first 3 years. So all of the things on the left, your stressors, chemical, physical, emotional, what we in chiropractic call subluxations of the spine. We want to eliminate as many of those stressors as possible. So by eating clean, moving often, being happy, ultimately getting checked, making sure that that spine is moving how it was designed to. You guys do yoga? Yoga is awesome. Yoga, meditation. I got somebody for that too. If you want it, let me know. Reduction of stress and anxiety in pregnancy may have significant and long-term benefits to offspring and therefore substantial public health benefits. Evolving evidence suggests that some forms of relaxation and relaxation training may improve not only physiological and hormonal stress markers, but also meaningful outcomes in mother and babies. They're doing so much research now that they can actually show if mom was stressed during her pregnancy, even early on in the pregnancy, that can actually show up in baby. It's just fascinating that the things that we're able to come up with now and find. That's why we say stress breeds stress. So when I sit down with a kid in my office, we start the conversation all the way back to when mom was pregnant with that child. I want to know what stressful things happened during pregnancy that maybe kind of imprinted in on baby, leading to stress, and then maybe the childbirth didn't go as well, and then this had to happen, which led to more stress, and then if the baby is in a state of imbalance, stress leads to stress. And so we just know so much more about now why doing things as naturally as possible, as balanced as possible, can benefit not only while you're pregnant, but after baby comes as well. Choosing your team and taking the wheel of your birth plan. I beat this to death, but you are the one driving this bus. You need to be driving this bus. Healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, relaxation, yoga and exercise, massage and acupuncture, and a wellness diet. All of the other outside things that can also stress out the system, we want to be making sure that all those check marks are in well aligned as, can't talk. All of those boxes are checked. So the relaxing, the yoga, the massage, eating well. Things externally we can do to help bring down the stress as much as possible. Physical preparation allows for greater release of endorphins and less pain during labor. So if you are not trying to stay active as much as possible during your pregnancy, and again, this doesn't need to be hardcore workouts or anything like that, but the body really, really, really likes movement. The spine really, really likes movement. We call it proprioception. Proprioception is just good information going to the brain. The brain loves it, loves it, loves it when the spine moves. 60% of all proprioception that goes to the brain is derived from the spine. This is why people will say, oh, I just did my first yoga class, and just even mentally, I just feel better. I feel happier. It's because the brain loved the fact that you got up and you got that spine moving. Very important if you are growing baby and about to deliver baby. Keep that energy going, keep that moving, because the more endorphins that are released, less pain during labor. Chemical stressors for pregnancy. Environmental factors and the food that we eat also play a part. So again, 2 slides ago when I was saying all of the other things that can stress us out, we want to be making sure that we're doing things externally the best we can to help make it so that those are less impactful as possible. So we call our 3 T's: chemical, physical, emotional. Thoughts, if you want to. So stress, 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 toxins, traumas, thoughts. We want to be decreasing those as much as possible. At the end of the day, subluxation. If your spine doesn't move, all of these are going to affect you so much more, which is why it's at the center. Subluxation causes inflammation, it causes interference, it causes irritation, which means all of the external stressors are going to affect you so much more because your nervous system is no longer in a state of balance. So at the center is a subluxation, which means to do things right, at the center needs to be getting checked, having me check that spine, clearing it out so I bring your system into proper balance. Then all the external things that we are going to be doing, like eating, emotional, getting up, moving, exercising, all of those are going to benefit you so much more if you are doing those things on a nervous system that is balanced, not here. If you are here and you're eating nothing but organic food, taking the best supplements in the world, but your body is stressed out, which means your intestines are not working optimally. Let's say your intestines are only absorbing at 70%. The best food in the world is only going to be absorbed at 70% because you're doing it from a state of imbalance. So internally, we have to balance out the system before all of these external things, as good as some of them are going to be, can have the best bang for their buck, if you will. The umbilical cord is the lifeline between mom and child. And in a benchmark study, research discovered 287 chemicals in the umbilical cord. So toxicity, right? 180 are known to have caused cancer in humans and animals. 217 are toxic to the brain and the nervous system. 208 cause birth defects and abnormal development. So toxicity is a big thing. And a lot of women, usually when they get pregnant, they look for things to avoid. So avoiding, red dye 40 and lunch meat and so many things. And that's a good thing to do because toxicity, again, 287 chemicals found in the umbilical cord. What you are eating is definitely going to baby. You can't control everything in life, but you can control what you put into your body. A little easier said than done, I know, but do the best that you can. Reasons for exploring a more natural birth. You want to, if you are planning on doing, talking right now to the mom, phone call, talking to the moms right now that are thinking about starting a family. It's like if you were going to go climb a mountain. Before you get there, you're probably going to do a good 3 to 6 months of training so that your body is in the best possible position to do that. If you are thinking about having a baby and you are not currently pregnant, I would start the process, taking your prenatal vitamins, start exercising, start getting your body into the best physical state that it can be before you actually even conceive. So start 6 to 12 months before conception, eat whole, living, organic foods, healthy fats, avoid the additives, the dyes, the toxicity, consider proper blood sugar and sodium regulation. Enhance, transforming your pregnancy and the health of your children. Putting it all together to achieve your optimal birth. Educate yourself. Choose your team, the people that you want to be on this bus. Because again, who's driving it? You are. Have a plan. Those people that are going to be on that bus are going to help you achieve that plan. Stay focused on it and maintain balance. When mapping the journey of your birth, don't let anyone else take the wheel. Dr. Ron, good guy. Enhance, come on now, 2 slides left. Oh, freaked out, sorry. I don't want to shortchange you that 2 slides, even though they're very redundant. Enhance the health and well-being of your pregnancy, delivery, and your child. So I hope tonight I at least planted some seed of maybe something you have never thought of before that you are now going to look into. If you want to contact me, normally if you guys are here in the office doing this live, we talk, we have conversations after we get done with the delivered presentation. We talk about other birth professionals, people that I know, kind of get you in contact with some of those. If you are interested in getting into my office to get checked, see how your nervous system is, I can't do it here on a webinar, but normally I would take you into the room and actually show you the exam process, the instrumentations that we use to actually scan and measure what your nervous system is doing. I can literally see if your body is operating from a stance of sympathetics that go, where we don't want to be. I have a scanning system that can actually show me that in, in pregnant mom, and yeah, definitely in pregnant mom, but in anybody. That's how we analyze people in our office. So normally I would show you that information, but if you would like to schedule a complimentary consultation, again, a consultation is an opportunity for you to sit down, talk to me, discuss what your goals are, see if I can maybe be somebody on that team to help you achieve those goals. There's never a cost for that. So if you ever want to schedule that, please go to our website, getwellgr.com, and schedule a new patient appointment. We can absolutely make that happen for you. And I can show you that scanning system at that time as well. So hopefully I was able to give you some good information, something to think about. And again, this talk is your jumping off point. This is just to get mom, get dad, get family going. Okay, there's maybe a lot more that we didn't really know. We got pregnant. We were just going to show up to the hospital and kind of be along for the ride. But do those goals really align with our goals? And if the answer is no, then you got some work to do. So step one was watching this. Step two, now the real work begins. You need to actually lay out what is your birth plan. Again, start at the end. We want to end with this, then walk it backwards. What are all the things that we need to avoid if we're trying to achieve this? Who are the people that need to be a part of our journey that we're trying to avoid this? How many people does that look like? Is it 1, 2, 15? What are the things that I need to put in place to help me reach that goal? So I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Now the real work begins. Roll up your sleeves, start writing that birth plan. If you would like to schedule that complimentary consult, please get in touch with us. If you need more information on anybody, OBs, midwives, doulas, things like that, please let me know. Massage therapists, acupuncture. I can always get you that information on people that I recommend as well. So hope you enjoyed the talk. Until next time, I hope that you can make it out to the next one that we do of these live. They're way more fun. I'm not going to lie, they're way more fun when they're live. But again, not everybody's able to make it out of the house. So that's why we want to put this into your hands as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If anybody you think needs this information, please go ahead and share this video with them as well. Until next time, it was my pleasure. Again, I'm Dr. Dustin McIver. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.